Hey guys, Gorath here, known IRL as Bo Schwartz, and we're going to talk today about why you should never give up. And this is a really important aspect to Heroes of the Storm, this idea of mental fortitude. It applies just as much in your 5-man games as it does in your solo league games, although I'll mainly be focusing on solo league. And so what this means is that even in 5-mans, but let's stick with the solo, you are not in control of 80% of your own teammates, never minding the factors that can affect the opposite team. Assuming they're all playing at their best, you will be paired up with people who have may go AFK. They may decide to roll a joint and prioritize their own personal pleasure than the competitive game you're playing. You may have someone who's obnoxious or insists on being not good, or the matchmaker may actually provide you with some variance and you're matched up with someone who is dragging you down. These are things that are going to happen to you, and as much as the development team behind Heroes of the Storm is committed to making a great and fair experience for all the matches, realistically, this solving the problem of the internet and its inflammatory nature. And so when you get into there's no way that they can have a 99.9% guarantee that the people that enter your match share your ideologies, share your ideas, your approach to the game. And when we say approach to the game, I had a Hero League game in where a guy didn't second ban, and all of us, including myself, said, "Hey bro, what's up? What are you gonna do?" And then when he didn't ban, it was all like, "Oh crap!" And then he responded with, "Sorry, rolling a joint." and that guy turned out to be pretty good at the game. And in spite of that little bump in the road, that comment made me feel like, oh great, he forgot a ban and now he's not going to be playing very well, but he ended up playing super good. These are the kinds of things you're going to experience in a video game performance, because if you're going into a game with certain expectations, like people are going to try hard as you, or people are going to chill out and be cool like you, you're not going to get that. Like, there's going to be a mismatch, and so you have to keep your expectations quite open about your teammates. I don't want to use the word low, because I feel like individuals can have a different approach to the game that looks maybe lower on one scale of measurement, but is just different and is awesome in its own way. So let's say keep your expectations open as to what you're going to get for teammates. Your concern when you're trying to play the game is to win. And the reason I'm doing this video this week is I had a game. I had time for one game in the day. It was my one Hero League game. And, we had a Diablo who was feeding. And here's the paradigm here. One person is either really bad or is intentionally playing bad because maybe they're having an off day and they feel like trolling, or they're just not in their best mental state. That person's on your team. That's one archetype. The guy who doesn't give a shit for whatever reason. Or doesn't give as much of a poo as the rest of the team, based on your cursory analysis of how he's playing in that one game. Then you have this other archetype, which is the guy who will AFK because of it, or the guy who will verbally abuse the person because of it, or who will just intentionally needle everything. That person usually turns out to be worse than the person trolling in the first place. And so if your objective is honestly, after honest self-assessment, to go into these games and to win more games than others and rank up, then you've got to expect these situations and know how to deal it. And when you feel yourself going down that path, know how to steer yourself off of it. Because if your focus is on winning games, the fight doesn't matter. And make no mistake, some people prefer to fight. They'll say one thing, but their actions show that they want to be in there to troll or to fight or to do anything but do the things it takes to win the game. And it's not just mechanics, it's not just elite strategy, there is the mental game. And the mental game is as important as everything else. And this is based on personal experience. I have a game here where this happened. We had a bad Diablo, and then Zebo continued to needle him the whole game, and we were all pretty displeased about it. But generally, if you're not going to rise up to defend somebody, and you're not the internet police, it's not your place to do so, you could at least stay out of it, try not to exacerbate it, and focus on doing what you can, because maybe others can capitalize on that. And your goal is to win games, not be a paragon of virtue, although you should be sportsmanlike in how you conduct things, because they're wasting your time. I mean, it is a legitimate complaint to say, I'm going to spend 30 minutes playing this great game, and people just ruin it because of their behavior. Unfortunately, there is no way to keep anyone like this out unless it's a small enough game with a committed culture and community. And we don't want it to be a small game, which means we're going to be bringing in a lot of people. And if, Twitter has shown us anything, or any kind of Reddit, 4chan, it's that there's a lot of people with a lot of backward views, or just are out there to just see the world burn. And they're in your Heroes games, I'm sorry to say. So you have to focus on what's important to you, which is winning the game. And this is how you increase your win rate, by not getting involved in it. So today's video, I have a replay that I want to show. I'm going to try and edit it together because it was a 33-minute game. Our Diablo was, I think, feeding. I'm interested in watching the video back to see how much of that was true, because I was busy concentrating on my own things and didn't, spend a lot of time hovering over the Diablo to see what he was doing next and to comment about it in the chat. So I'd like to look at it back and provide a fair assessment of what's going on. But my sense after the game was that even though the Diablo was not up to expectations, the remainder of the team did rally around it and eventually beat the team. And the team was a challenging match. And so it lasts like 33 minutes, which is why I'm trying to say I'm going to edit it down, because I don't know that you necessarily want to watch this. It's also a replay. I know I haven't been streaming as much. My second monitor is on the fritz, and streaming is proving kind of challenging without the second monitor because I can't follow the chat. But hopefully get back on that real soon. But for now, if you walk away from one thing, it's this. All competitive games, especially pickup games, are full of side roads and detours that take you off of your focus, take you off of what's important. And what's important is the moment you're in. It's not losing 10 ranks, so trying to get even and get back to 10 ranks, so that loses you games. It's focusing on what's in front of you in the moment. That's what matters. And, thinking ahead is part of the strategy, but mostly that strategy changes from moment to moment. So you still have to be in the moment thinking of these things. Because, and I say this, also the nature, especially of solo queue, is that you might get your butt pounded the whole match, but that one key team fight where everyone was working together, except for maybe the people who weren't, you managed to capitalize on an advantage you earn with the long death timers and win a game. Like all the maps, this is fairly true, that you can take bad situations and turn them into victories if you're part of the team that's committed. And that's a fair use of the word carrying. Okay, you're not carrying them with your elite skills, you're carrying them with your positive mental attitude. Think of it that way. And if you do that, you don't have to write "get carried" at the end of the match, because that's not sportsmanlike. All you have to do is think, all right, these guys are lost on their way. I'm not. I know what I'm here to do. I'm going to carry people with my positive mental attitude, or at least staying out of it, which is, again, more a positive expected value for more plus EV for winning than participating in it. It's not poker. Needling and all those mind tricks do nothing on your teammates. They're on your team. So, I hope you enjoyed my little talk, and I hope it wasn't too preachy, but these are some of the things that I think about. If you're looking to do a little bit better in the game, it's not just about mechanics. It's not just about knowing the strategy. It's about knowing how to work with a lot of different kind of people. And this is true in the real world as much as it is in the microcosm of a Heroes of the Storm game. So without further ado, I'm going to start the replay. But before I go, I'd like to encourage you to check out the podcast I do with Scott Johnson and John Jagger called Core at heroesforyou.com. You should subscribe. If you found this video and didn't know about our podcast, you should listen to it. It's good. So go there, subscribe to this channel if you want more great videos. And, until next time, please have good luck and have fun and be kind to your fellow Nexusites, or Nexusonians. Or Nexrami? So, I remember distinctly feeling sort of displeased with the draft. Wasn't a big fan of what happened here. Well, let's get rid of that, because that's annoying to look at. Yeah, so there we go. Right off the bat, Diablo's not there, and someone's pinging him mercilessly. But yeah, I remember not being happy with the draft. And I remember that also being an aspect of this that I felt tempted to be salty about, because we last picked Tassadar as a support, and it felt like that age-old, oh, Tassadar counters Nova, because someone on their team basically first picked Nova for the most part. And, I'm gonna turn this thing on. And, you know, basically I disagreed. I disagree with that, like, you know, do this thing to counter, you know, take this pick because it counters this pick. Unless you're, you know, unless it's like a hero you're really good with, it's generally not. Generally, you just need to play your best game and make them run on your clock. So anyways, not to get too deep into that, but I wasn't super thrilled about the Tassadar pickup here. And, but, you know, we're going to roll with it. We don't have a healing support. Now, it still makes Tassadar support, and as you know, Tassadar is a great support, so not really, you know, a big issue or anything. But, alright, so here's me being a dummy. Anyways, but, you know, I remember feeling that way about Tassadar, feeling that it was a bad pick, but you know what, we're going to roll with it, we're going to try and do our best. And, you know, I was kind of wrong. I think our Tassadar was really good, and I think it was a fine pick. But, I would have preferred a healer. It's important not to rile up your teammates just because you think initially that it's not going to go well, because, I don't know, you don't know how well your teammates are going to play. So, this game I'm playing Lunara, and, I'm going to play very pokey with her. Generally, when I play range assassins, especially in solo queue, I don't love taking risks until, I want to say, victory is assured. Okay, so here's a ping for a gank. What was that? Yeah. I'm trying to get a feel for when the wheels came off, because so far the Diablo, you know, doesn't seem to have done anything too terrible. What's he got for talents here? I don't know what those talents are without looking at them. Okay, another thing that you see here too, you make assumptions about people who have the silence on there. Maybe correctly so. Oh, we just we just missed Diablo dying. But it looks like he got ganked there. I'm not sure he was in the wrong. I'll try to be more careful about doing that in the future. Yeah, chase for the kill, didn't get it. Not off to a great start. Now, all that pinging, I'm pretty sure is the Nazeebo, even though it's not clear who it is. Oh, actually, that's the Diablo that did all the pinging. Because he's silenced. That makes sense now. Sorry, it's been a day or two since I played this game. I'm forgetting all the minor details. That's the Diablo pinging like a madman. And he's pinging for the coins to be picked up. Really sucks to get silenced. Another good reason why you should be sportsman-like, because it affects your win rate. When you get silenced, it's not just, oh, you can't be a jerk to people. You actually can't communicate what you're supposed to do in this game. And that Diablo's having a real time getting out. He's still pinging like a madman, which is, you know, irritating teammates for sure here. Let's see what's going on with me. And there you go, see? Our Nazeebo would like them to stop pinging. So our Nazeebo hasn't noticed he's muted yet. So I kindly pointed out. He's muted, and then boom. Idiot bitch. That doesn't help win the game. And rightfully so, taking that entitled, we're not the internet police. It's unfortunate that he's, you know, been muted. And it's gonna, it costs us. It costs us expected EV when we go to play games. So that's why you shouldn't be mean to people. Unfortunately, yet we have to deal with it. And that's what we're gonna do. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna stay quiet and just try and do my job as damage. And right now, I'm not floating around with them to do ganks, because people do need to sit in lanes and soak. As you can see, we're actually not doing too bad on XP advantage, and I think I actually go down here. Yeah. I got surprised by the Nova. Their Nova, I would say, was pretty decent, but suffers from the problem of Nova in the late game, where, you know, they start to get, as people get more talents, Novas are easier and easier to chase down and isolate. Especially because we have Greymane, who's a house right now. No, and Diablo just died mid again. And this time I can say fairly, just by looking at the minimap, he was out of position. I should follow him around a bit more, but... Alright, now here's a bunch of pinging. Again, rage pinging while he's on a death timer. Not helpful whatsoever. Yeah, and this is sort of where the lack of healer is really... I mean, it's easy to say, oh, they were caught out, they were deep in the lane. I mean, they were just trying to attack this. There's a 4-man gang coming down and they're hunting them hard. You know, with that, what do you expect? So this is where sort of, I would say, like, man, we got a Tassadar pickup and we got no sustain when stuff like this happens. Yeah, and look here, Nova's gonna... Oh, wow. What a nice getaway. That was real close. Thought for sure they'd blow up. So Tassadar and I are just, you know, quietly soaking the lanes up here. Tassadar's cleared top, come to join me, but we're gonna... This is forfeit, the bottom. The bottom is mostly forfeit with 3 dudes down there, and all of us still trying to keep mid alive. Nazeebo continues to needle. And this is the effect that I'm talking about, where it's like, yeah, the guy's muted. He's definitely being a dick about pinging the map. Not going to help you play any better. To also needle him and to engage in that fight. Right now, this feels like Nazeebo's more interested in mouthing off to someone who can't mouth off back than playing the game. They're both being dumb. Because, you know, Diablo's just, all he can do is ping back to needle him back. And it works. The pinging's irritating. And look at this. Okay. I keep not following the Diablo, and I don't even know how we got behind there. Mind you, he did manage to take out that thing. So actually, I want to retreat a little bit. I'm just curious as to how that happened. So I got so caught up in the Nazeebo text and talking about the Nazeebo text that I'm not sure how we got behind there. Wow, he charged through the gate? Huh. I didn't know you could do that. Well, I like his fountain snipe here. It paid off. It was risky. I'm not sure how his soul collection is. So if we can click on him, maybe we can see. No, he's got not enough souls. He didn't respawn. I mean, all I was reading at this point, I didn't actually pay attention to what Diablo did during the game, but Nazeebo, between the pinging and Nazeebo chatting and me getting affected by it, was very distracting. Real rough. Yeah, this fight's not going to go well, so we're down to tank, and not sure what Diablo's doing. But he's on vision, first of all, so he's being a ninja, except not a ninja because he's on vision. And he's fountain sniping. Now this... Okay, he's ulting. He's ulting on a fountain while we are losing mid, potentially more. When we could be getting kills, evening out an XP. He gets a fountain, and he takes another death. So, definitely not happy. You know, clearly this Diablo is trying to accomplish something. Can't communicate it to us, doing a strategy that is not commonly understood without text, without communicating it in chat, or having teammates on voice. So, you know, that's on him. Also, pinging, I don't know if this person understands how pinging doesn't do anything. We're in a bad spot here. We've got to give up the fort now, too. Like, we can't get caught out alone because we're basically constantly outnumbered. And the best that we can do is I can just try and work with the rest of the team. And, you know, who I want to kill here is Lunara, is this very aggressive Nova. Nova's out of position here, too, doing the whole hunting thing. Now, I think I'm actually going to get caught out again. Oh, there's a kill mid. Nazeebo, of course, is still chatting away. Generally speaking, I'm not pleased about how this match is going. We are 10 kills to 2 deaths. We're down 3 towers. And I waste 2 ults on a decoy. That's a bad game for me too. I'm usually pretty good at picking those out, but he played the hollow decoy quite well. And Diablo's down again. For how many deaths has he given up at this point? He's up to 8 deaths. Not looking good, not feeling good about this teammate at all. There's no need 10 minutes in to be at 8 deaths unless, I don't know, unless we were fighting more, then you would see like the fruits of this labor. This is where the Greymane says something cryptic, right? The blood is on your hands. I don't get that comment. Perhaps, you know, because he was trolling. Alright, so a couple of things going on here. I don't think we're going to get this. I think, you know, she's going to get that kill. Again. Walking up. Wow. Look at that. And probably because Nazeebo is, you know, tilting him, too. Like, exacerbating the problem. And this is sort of the point of my video, is that, like, you get a guy like this Diablo who's muted, can't communicate, is pinging the map, and what do you do but make it worse? Which is sort of the point that definitely this player's feelings are legitimate. He should be upset about the behavior of this Diablo and should be expecting more from teammates in his ranked games. But he is not helping the problem by focusing on him. Like, the focus here is to win. I'm in a Hero League match. I don't want to have to re-win a match just because of crap. And so we don't need to be needling him. And I think this is what Greymane is talking about. Greymane is talking about the blood being on Diablo's hands because the Nazeebo is needling him. Yeah, and just like he said, because I called him out. So this Greymane is definitely thinking along the same lines as me. I can't believe this match is going to last another 20 minutes. Holy crap. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, it's kind of a boring match. At least so far. And, you know, this is the point where, yeah, where it's like the damage carries. I think at this point have to just follow Diablo around and just ride whatever mess he's getting himself into and support him the best that we can, rather than be mad at him, rather than not want to play the game anymore. We're here to win, and we got the teammates we got, and we're gonna make the best of what we have. So, yeah. And here they're gonna get another turn in on us. So it's 13-4. Now, because of our soaking, our diligent soaking, we have been able to not be too punished by the level differential, even though they have a 9-kill advantage on us and 3 fort advantage on us. So this team in their hunt for getting kills have been, you know, quite bad about their soak. And here Diablo again is not with the group. We decided to leave him behind to do things. And, you know, he's gonna get focused down. Meanwhile, their tank is on top of business in a real good way. And it's Tassadar, who I was kind of like, oh man, Tassadar is so irritating, actually proved to be really good in a match that was already stacked against us because of this Diablo, who continues to ping our Nazeebo. Like, man. Alright. There's a little scuffle going on down there. An early release of Poison Nova. That's good to hear, because again, you're looking to capitalize on mistakes the enemy team makes, and that Poison Nova, it's a mistake. Someone got antsy and he shot it off. And this is where we start hunting people down and killing them. And sort of Diablo's there to show up at the end of the fight. I mean, don't get me wrong, this Diablo is pretty irritating. Uh-oh. Well, Nova did Nova things. Remember, Nova always wins even when she loses, for those reasons. And our teammates do not pick up the tokens. I think it might have been worth the risk, but I mean, Nova's threatening, and we don't want to lose a keep. Losing this creates so much pressure for us, but this Nova is just steamrolling us big time. We are getting shreked by Nova. 16-5 now. I mean, at this point, I'm starting to think the match is a loss. Yeah, I knew she was around there somewhere, but she got away from me. Definitely a crafty Nova. And again, no tank yet, you know. Frontline support, trying to get things down, trying to isolate somebody. Difficult with the Nova, I suppose, because she's invisible, but she is right out there. Sharp Eye would have spotted her out. Yeah. Coming back again. So there's just gonna be a lot of poking right now. I'm super tentative. I'm trying to hang around him to put damage on, but not get myself caught out because of the Nova. And I wanted to block some shots, but then I was moving into position to body block, and that didn't seem right. So I moved out of the way. I remember that moment. And that was a failed attempt to Hail Mary at Nova with the Q. She really is looking for the flank. Funny, she knows to pick on. That was a good haymaker. Man, real rough. This fight is not going well. That was a good poison Nova. That one was good. And this is where I start to be like, I got an opportunity here. They're really focused on Dibbles. There's one. I don't think I'll get the Brightwing because of the self-heal. Yeah, no. And I get wrecked. I get shreked in this game. Pretty hard. 19-7. If we take a quick peek at the damage, you know. I mean, their Zagara's doing fantastic. Their Nova's doing fantastic. They look like they're playing together as a team and not arguing. Whereas we have one guy who's focused on needling another player, and a Diablo who is out to, like, clearly out to lunch with 10 deaths so far. Not trying his best today. And still with the pings, rage pinging. The rage pinging, I gotta admit, that was really distracting. It's very distracting to hear that sound all match. Maybe there should be a separate mute column for that kind of a thing. Alright, we got a lucky pick capitalized on. The one good thing about when the enemy team is beating you is the hubris they get, which you can actually leverage against them. You know, like how in the movie The Edge, Anthony Hopkins lets the bear jump on top of him and he kills him with the spear with the bear's own weight. That's exactly what you can do in Heroes when the other team is feeling their oats, they're beating you. Generally speaking, they start to feel like they're not beating you, but that they're just better than you, which is a trap. You can easily beat a team that's better than you if they're just making mistakes that day, or they have a troll on the team. And again, Diablo just kind of dumps all of his tokens in there. No teammates followed him, didn't take that as a sign. I have to imagine this guy doesn't tank often. Although he was a second pick Diablo. I feel like if he got second pick and doesn't tank, he wouldn't be there. Alright, but he's back up again. At least that's the one redeeming factor, is that he can feed even harder. Alright, Greymane goes to town. And here I am actually trying to look for I want Zagara or Nova. I'm getting sick here of waiting around and not ulting, because I know I can wreck these fools. Didn't get the Nova, because I couldn't reveal her, but that's a pretty good consolation prize. And thankfully, the Nova had enough hubris to stick around and not just rifle him off right away. Or get out. I mean, I feel like, you know, I feel like definitely the other team's not playing carefully, not respecting the fact that we have a Greymane, we have a Lunaric that can still dumpster them pretty hard. So, you know, I guess maybe with the Tassadar it feels like, well, they don't have healing, so. But still. Alright. Interesting, I remember this. Camp getting taken while we were trying to decide whether to go for boss or skip it. I'm not sure why we don't go for a gank here, but I guess maybe we're trying to clear the top lane for the eventual boss take down. Because now that we're at level 20, one team, like one big mistake on either side will win it. Whether that's a throw in the boss pit or just a really good team fight. But like with friends like these, who needs enemies? Oh, Tassadar at least is rushing to his aid, and so is Nazeebo here. I mean, I will give Nazeebo credit for he was still trying to win the game and fighting. That's sort of the point I wanted to make, is that in spite of the fact that Nazeebo was trolling, not trolling, but needling the Diablo, I really felt at the end of this game that, you know, the four of us sort of pulled it together and just made it work with a player who was muted, a player who was pinging and obnoxious, and who, for all intents and purposes, looked like he was feeding and not playing as a team until these more final moments where it's a little bit easier to be all cooped up because look at what we're doing. So maybe, who knows, Diablo got a clue at some point and decided to knock it off. And here's where, yeah, I ate some shots. And I get the kill on the Nova. With some help from Diablo, of all people. Hey, Diablo did a good thing. He might have been a jerk the whole game, but he did a good thing. He deserves praise for helping me close out that kill because the Nova is wrecking us. How many final shots do we have here on Nova? I mean, she's got 9 takedowns. She's close to top. She's share top with Zagara. Like, she played really well. She's doing really well. And who knows? I'll never know if the other team had their own problems. It didn't look like it, but they could have all hated that Nova first pick, especially when it got countered by Tassadar. Which I don't agree that Vision is a counter for stealth characters. It's just a counter for stealth. Characters is still powerful. And, yeah. And that fight, like I talked about, you know, we don't have any sustain. We're playing kind of poorly the whole game. One fight nets us a boss. Nets us momentum. And that is why you shouldn't give up, because the game can look bad the whole time, but you're there to win. You're there to win. You're there to have a good time, but it can't be promised that the people that you don't get paired with, who are your similar skill level, their personalities are complete unknown. That's just the nature of online games. And this game is heavily cooperative. You need to think cooperatively, even if others don't. If winning is important to you. So here we go for a victory lap. I think here we get punished a bit. And again, I would say Diablo's out way ahead of his team. I'm a big fan of when you're pushing up a lane, don't be lazy and not push the damn minion wave. The minion wave is your momentum. Don't be lazy and run past them unless it's like absolute desperation. So, you know, looking at that, Diablo was way ahead of the rest of the group. The rest of us were trying to clear the lane and push the minion wave up so we didn't have to take extra damage from all of the minions, because that stuff does add up when you fight in the middle of it. And just increases pressure, so there's, like, why not do it? Yeah. So, you know, again, that match, when we played it, felt like the Diablo let us down yet again. And Nazeebo felt that way, and he starts, you know, starts lecturing him again. And the momentum shifts back in the red team's favor because now at least they can turn in. And they can pull camps, and they're definitely going to get this. So, you know, that negates everything that we accomplish by obtaining boss. Which is why this match takes forever. I think the one redeeming factor is that while Nova can burst, she's not a good sustained DPS. So if we don't make mistakes, her value is mitigated. Which is why I don't feel like you see her in competitive play. Because Nova capitalizes on players' mistakes and their lack of attentiveness. If you have both of those two, you can handle a Nova. Whereas, like, you know, here, like, Raynor could run right up into the middle with heals and not be crafty and just shoot and provide value. Nova's value comes from her ability to be surprising. And the less people are surprised by you, the less effective your kit is. Same is true of Zeratul, but he's actually more surprising because of not the stealth, but the teleport ability. And his Void Prison is OP. It will never not be OP to have an ability like that. I definitely like the way this Nova also scouts for vision, uses her decoy for vision. She's very clever. So here we're dancing around for an engagement, and really this is where, like, why? Just not reading the room. Just not reading the room. So we all have to back off from this fight, basically. And this is where I'm thinking as a player. Like, I've got to get the kills, you know, and I know that I trust Greymane and I trust Nazeebo, but I've got to do what I can to really get in there, because I feel like a lot of this match I've been pretty passive. Partly because when I play a squishy character like Lunara, I'm expecting peels, and Nazeebo can kind of do it, but like, I really need that Diablo to play with me. I'm really tank dependent when I play Lunara. I hug that tank and position myself around it like you wouldn't believe. Like, and here's an example of a bad fight. We actually get wrecked here, PDM. We got grouped up, good poison Nova, right in a place where we don't have an easy escape. No, we got wrecked, but we didn't get wrecked. We're a step away from wrecked. Took a lot of damage, and that engage there felt real bad. It's a rough business. I mean, it's tough tanking, and I hate being critical of people who, you know, want to take up that mantle. But it's an example there of a fight, I think, that I really didn't want it there. And you could see we were pinned up against the wall, and that caused us to bunch up, and the Azul ult was very effective. And also allowed an easy aimed Maw to go off in there too. In fact, I think the Maw and Nova timings were a little overlapped. It might have been worse. Alright, so we're getting into the final stages here. And this is where, like, you know, you get into these Cold War matches of, like, it's just attrition at this point. We're being very gun-shy about taking a fight because we don't have a tank that we believe in. But we have good players on our team. And as you can see, the Needling's cut to a close. I think everyone on our team, you know, knows that we just need to chill out. Boom. Opportunity capitalized. And the Diablo ended up being a part of it. And now he's pinging the core. In a normal match, that would be, yes, it's time for the core. But, yeah, no, that's real good. So, I don't know, looking back on this match, it doesn't feel as bad as it did in the moment, looking back on it. It actually looks like Diablo came together and started grouping up. And as we grouped up, the rest of us sort of knew what to do with them. But clearly, I've had games like this with players similarly, you know, not as skilled or making mistakes because, who knows, they're high or something, or they're just sick or not having a good day. And us throw the game because someone AFKs over it. It's to the Nazeebo's credit that he didn't AFK and kept trying in spite of the quote-unquote troll that he called him. He called him a troll. And this is where it gets real rough too. I don't even think we win here. Like, we're super low. And like the Lightning Breath ults, Apocalypse just brings so much that the Lightning Breath pick is... Again, I don't want to criticize it because he's the one playing it and that's what he's got to do, and if he's good with it, he's good with it, but, you know. There goes the Brightwing. Oh, this has got to be where we win it. Oh, I think I get shot there, actually. I know there's Greymane going down. Yeah, getting wrecked by the Azul. There's him going down. This is where I tried to man mode the core, but actually I was taking shots from it, and I don't last long on the core. But look at that. Core down to 28%, and, you know, we were all, like, bummed out. And, well, here's Man Mode Diablo, doing a bit more damage, although arguably not worth. And there he goes running, like, I mean, if you're just gonna do that, just hit it. Unbelievably, is he no, he's not going to get away. He might have actually gotten away if he hadn't turned around. Although I'm pretty sure Nova would have mounted up and hunted him down. At my level, at rank 12, I'm not saying they're the best players, but that is not I don't see that kind of play as often. But I'm sure you do. You're going to have to deal with it. And here's where someone had a nice idea. This is, okay, again, we're all sort of, you know, mourning, belaboring, you know, our misfortunes here in the chat. Even I said, I asked if it was a placement match player because maybe we would be less hard on the guy if he's a placement match player, you know, like he doesn't, it's the way the matchmaker works too, and I didn't look. So here we go in the throw pit, they get it. But here's where I hunt my Nova. Nova's out of the picture. We are safe. We are so safe. Well, it's 4-1. People start pinging the core. They've got an enemy boss on the way to its core. I agree that core is the place. So here we go to go end it with the base race. So yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, in many games I've played, that boss would have resulted in a win for them. And the Diablo was, I would arguably late to that party and didn't perform well in that fight, but well enough. The rest of us carried that with PMA to get that win. And see, people still want to report Diablo. He did do some good things in the match, but he was certainly obnoxious and certainly, I think he played in a way that almost felt a little bit intentionally trolly or belied a skill level that he wasn't supposed to be at. I mean, the fact is, when someone's playing bad, the worst thing to do is to make them feel worse. That's not how you're going to get someone's cooperation. So, yeah, but the escapades and human behavior aside, just know that you can keep your attitude positive and they can pull out victories like you saw here. So hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time. I don't know what that is. I'll never do that again.